Okay, so rowing is really a lot like doing a bunch of deadlifts at lightweight. So if I tell you to row 1,000 meters, pretend you're doing 100 deadlifts. The points to pay attention to in phase one are a flat back, the heels stay flat on the floor plate the whole time, and then just getting the sequence down of your extension and then pulling the oar to your chest. So it's going to be essentially 4 phases within phase one. You're going to want to get those down before you graduate to the next level. Here's what it looks like: knees, hips, arms, return. Hips, knees, knees, hips, arms, return. So watch that a few times and then practice it before you graduate to the next phase. I'm still breathing, I'm still braced, and I'm going through my sequence without violating any of those rules. So phase two is really just a continuation of all the steps, the 4 pieces of the puzzle you put together from the previous phase. Everything still applies. My back is flat, my heels stay on the floor plate, and I'm timing the extension of my knees and hips and the pull of the oar to keep everything smooth and without violating any of the principles of a neutral back, a flat spine. A couple things you can pay attention to here: you're just trying to still move slow. It's helpful to watch the chain as you go forward to the pole and you extend into your catch. That'll keep your head in a good position. Also, don't worry too much about pulling hard in this stage. You're just trying to make it a little bit more fluid instead of so mechanical as we were in phase one. Here's what it looks like with a little bit of movement: knees, hips, or return. Hips, knees, knees, hips, and so on through your phase two until you feel more comfortable with this movement and you can graduate to phase three, which is coming up. Phase three is where the rubber meets the road, folks. All right, so this one is actually pretty fun. And when you're at this level, what you're really thinking about is efficiency of movement. Unless I'm doing like a 10-calorie sprint, I do not want constant motion on that monorail. I'm going to follow all of my principles we just outlined in the previous phase one and phase two: heels down flat, pulling with a flat back. And as I explode violently into extension and pull on that flywheel, you'll notice my back position, I pause for a little bit. You already did all that work to get the flywheel spinning. So you want to pause in the back end, catch, and then you dip forward and pull aggressively and catch. So watch that a few times and try and drill it down. One mistake I make here is I'm dipping a little far forward in my hinge. You can see that chain bow a little bit. So I should be a little more upright in my forward pull, but that's the general idea of it. So give it a try. So with the common mistakes, what we're looking at, there's a whole bunch of them, but these are the most common, is an early heel rise, a upright torso, so that's going to overuse your low back. Basically, a person doing that is not hip hinging and they're bending their knees far too much. And then there's also an early pull. So you haven't finished extending your legs and then people want to pull that oar to their chest. We're going to break all these down as we see them, but that's what I want you to look for on this video. So you see upright torso, heel rise. Those are the primary errors here. This overuses the low back. When people are like, rowing hurts my low back, you're probably doing this mistake. So don't be that person, okay? Coming up into the next error, so I still have heel rise and that issue, you're gonna see an early pull. And what that looks like is basically you taking all the efficiency and work from your legs and making a really weak pull that overuses your mid and upper back. So also, don't be that person. Finish full extension. A good way to address those errors, if you've had issues with any of the previous stages or what I just talked about, is using a dumbbell and putting it on the monorail. So you won't be able to go as deep and it will keep you within the limits of your mobility and ideally moving well. So practice your rowing and get that fitness.